For 50 years, KNWC Radio has been a powerful presence in the Sioux Empire, blanketing Sioux Falls and rippling out into the communities and rural areas in 4 Midwestern states. Life 96.5 and Faith 1270 are driven to serve others in love and point them to Jesus Christ. The message of hope and changed lives ring clearly. It's felt by listeners like Candy Knowles Stevens, who found the strength to go forward after the tragic loss of her son Reed in a school bus accident near Cottonwood, Minnesota.
In our deepest, darkest moments, we choose to turn to Life 96.5 because we need something uplifting, and we need just to hear from God and to hear how, He's with us. He hasn't forgotten about us, and even though things might be stinky in our personal, tragedy and things that we've had to deal with, that God is still there for us.
The ministry is strong today because of God's faithfulness from the beginning. Northwestern College in St. Paul, Minnesota, brought Christian radio to Sioux Falls, South Dakota on March 25, 1961. One day, 1270 was KIHO, a rock station. The next day, KNWC was on the air. From the start, God was working through the programs and music to direct new listeners to the station. But as grateful as the people were for Christian radio, the early years were difficult financially. In 1965, the station was literally 2 weeks away from being sold if not enough money was raised. But God provided through many donors. Another challenge arose when the station faced eviction if it didn't raise the $45,000 needed to purchase the land where its studio and tower sat. Then, with just 2 weeks left until the bank's deadline, station manager Harv Hendrickson had to go on the air and tell listeners about an accounting error.
I guess the honesty of the whole procedure and the people's acceptance of us, the money started pouring in. And on the date that the money was due, we had to go to the bank. We had $12 extra beyond the $45,000 that we needed, and it was truly God's blessing that purchased the land for KNWC.
In 1969, the FM frequency signed on the air at 96.5. It was another way to spread the gospel, but the range was limited. In the late 1970s, KNWC was offered an opportunity to transmit from a much higher tower to more than double its coverage, but $100,000 was needed. Yet another time, God worked through our faithful listeners, and the money was raised. The trials and triumphs of those early years set the foundation for the ministry that is taking place today. The ministry and tools God has given KNWC help strengthen the impact of other like-minded organizations.
Partnering and proclaiming the good news from the Bible, proclaiming, the claims of Christ, it's not just a good idea. It's really God's design. It's His call and His command to us to do that. And when we do that, when we partner together, God shows up in an incredible way. And we've seen that in such a great partnership with Life 96.5.
Using radio to reach beyond the local faith community allows our message to influence many who may not otherwise be touched by Christ's love. Pairing local agencies like Sioux Empire Wheels to Work and a business like Tires for Angel Cars made a huge difference.
I don't think you see this in other parts of the country like we do here in Sioux Empire here. So it's really nice to see that God is in control here and that there's such a strong faith that people give back.
As our partnerships expand, the reach of Christ's love expands too. When you join us in opportunities to serve others, you are the hands and feet of Jesus. When you pray, when you give, when you share, when you serve, you are helping Life 96.5 as we make a difference together and further God's kingdom in the Sioux Empire and around the world.
A radio station that only has announcers and nothing else is not a radio station that's doing anything significant in God's kingdom. We need you, and we team up with you.
Moving forward, you can expect Life 96.5 and Faith 1270 to continue working alongside you to serve God by serving our community.
So as we reach out with our 2 stations, we want to help them to grow in their faith, to fulfill our mission. We want to bring people closer to a relationship with Jesus Christ, to let them know that God loves them, God cares for them, and our staff here wants to be a part of their everyday life.
Thank you for 50 years of allowing us into your homes, your cars, and your businesses with the message of love, hope, and family. And with God's blessing and your continued prayers and financial support, we look forward to another 50 years and beyond.
I think my faith has deepened because I can hear the depth of God's love and how deep and wide and long it really truly is for me and for everybody else.